The bar you've set for your health practices might actually be the problem as to why you feel stuck. Not because it's too low, but because for most women, it's been set too high. Welcome to your daily hit of grace and grit, your quick dose of inspiration to kickstart your day. I'm Courtney Townley, and here is today's hit. BJ Fogg at Stanford has spent decades studying the design of lasting behavior change. And his core finding, which has been replicated across his tiny habits research involving tens of thousands of participants, is genuinely counterintuitive. Smaller habits form faster and more durably than larger, more ambitious ones. And I know that's hard for us to accept, right? Because I work with very strong, smart, capable women. And when I encourage them to lower the bar on their health commitments, they'll often push back, right? Feeling like, well, hey, Courtney, I'm smart, I'm capable, I've done harder things. Yeah, I know. You're also living a very full life with very low resources on board, right? Because you're at midlife, you've got so many other things you're committed to. So taking all of that into consideration, you are going to be far more successful by committing to less initially than by committing to more. And look, once you prove to yourself that you can keep a commitment and you're actually building traction, you can always add in more. But why set the bar so high that you can't even follow through from the outset? So Fogg's participants who started exercise habits with 2 minutes of movement built more lasting exercise habits than those who started with 30-minute programs. Not because the 2 minutes of exercise is enough to create fitness, but because it was enough to build the identity of someone who exercises. And as we explore so often on this show, identity precedes behavior. So if you start thinking of yourself as someone who exercises, the duration expands naturally over time. So it's not that they didn't get to exercise for longer periods of time. Over time, they did. But they extended themselves the grace of starting small. And Wendy Woods, her research on habit automaticity at USC adds something that supports this, right? Habits become automatic when they are simple, contextually cued, and performed in consistent circumstances. So complexity is the enemy of trying to make behaviors automatic. Every additional step involved in a behavior is another cognitive decision that has to be made. It gives the brain another opportunities to say, this is too hard. So simple behaviors, as hard as it is for us to hear this, simple behaviors performed in consistent contexts bypass decision-making entirely, right? They become as automatic as brushing your teeth. So this is why, attaching a new behavior to something you're already doing on the regular is really helpful. So if I always forget to take my supplements, because this is something I've been known to do, my solution to that is I always take supplements with my meals, because I know I'm always going to have breakfast and I'm always going to have dinner for the most part. And those are two very ingrained habits already. So attaching my supplements to those two meals ensures that I get them in. I would also say this is why I argue for, in my book, The Consistency Code, bare minimums. The absolute simplest version of taking care of yourself that you could commit to even on your worst day. It is structurally aligned with exactly what the research shows to produce durable habits. So when a client says to me, I'm going to walk for, I haven't been moving very much, so I really want to commit to something that helps me to improve my fitness. Okay, great. What's that thing going to be? And they might say something like, well, I'm going to exercise every day this week for 45 minutes. And my brain immediately goes to, that's too complicated. Because based on everything else this woman has told me about her life, I know that she just set the bar too high. And so she is likely to not show up on a lot of days. And she's going to use that as evidence for why she keeps failing. So my question to her is, okay, I know you want to start moving your body more because you want to start getting more fit. So I want you to tell me what the bare minimum is. You can always do more, but what is the bare minimum that you are fiercely committing to every single day this week? And she might say something like 30 minutes. She'll lower it a little bit. And I'll say, how about 10? And she'll say, oh, that's way too low. Yeah, that's the point. Your bare minimum should be so low that you have a really difficult time rationalizing your way out of not doing it or out of doing it, right? So if I only have to exercise for 10 minutes, that's such an easy yes most days. And hey, I might get into that 10 minutes of movement and decide, you know what, I can go for 45 minutes because I've got the time and energy. Awesome. But if my bare minimum is only 10 minutes on a day when I'm really low on resources and my schedule is really full, if I still get in that 10 minutes, I'm going to feel like that's an awesome win. And that's the whole point, right? So the bare minimum is not your ceiling, it is the floor. And having a floor is what keeps you in the game all the time. Simple is not small, okay? Simple, it does not mean you're incapable. Simple does not mean you're not smart. Simple means that you are committed to sustainability. And sustainability over years produces results that no ambitious short-term progress will ever help you to create. So, redefine what simplicity means, because I personally believe it means you're serious about success this time. It doesn't mean you're less than in any way. It means you're serious about succeeding, and that's a wonderful thing. If this stirred something inside of you, imagine what a whole book of clarity and courage could ignite. The Consistency Code, a midlife woman's guide to deep health and happiness, goes even deeper into the mindset and practices that create real, meaningful change at midlife. Grab your copy today over at theconsistencycode.com and keep the momentum alive.